since we're on the topic of killing,
Yeah.
one thing that I noticed is killing is a lot more. People don't get so emotional about it when I was in the SEAL teams.
Right.
It was whenever we killed somebody or took out a group of bad guys or whatever, it was more of it felt more like an accomplishment.
Yeah.
When I jumped over to the agency, what I noticed is there's a lot more emotion within agency personnel when it comes to killing bad guys.
Yeah.
What was that like? And I know where you were at in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
You know, Kandahar, extremely dangerous place. We're talking about in East Afghanistan, probably
Right.
even worse.
Time magazine called my old base the most dangerous place on the planet.
Yeah.
That's fun when you go home to your wife and you say, hey, I got to go to Afghanistan for a year. And she's like, are you going to Kabul? I'm like, yeah, maybe not.
But I guess what I'm getting at is because of the areas that you were hanging out in, there's not a doubt in my mind that you're directly responsible for the deaths of
Yeah.
several bad
Yep.
guys. What was that like for you emotionally, mentally, the first time that you were directly
Oh, what a great
responsible?
question. You know, it's I was flat. It wasn't anything. You know, it happened actually first in Iraq, and I'll never forget this because as I was this was probably March or April of 03, and I'm running around with some of your old buddies. This is with Dev Group, and because we were doing the HVT hunt, but occasionally, and then I would work with some of the other NSW units there, which actually, for probably a variety of reasons, were actually it was a lot. It was easier to work with them because they were really eager to kind of jump on board, and we were doing some other things. But I remember collecting intelligence on the location of remember the old Fedayeen Saddam? These are the Iraqi irregulars, and so I had the geocords, and we're somewhere in Baghdad, and I freaking knock on a fucking Bradley fighting vehicle that was nearby, and I was like, "Here, take this," and they're like, "Fucking game on," and then you hear that whir of the whatever, I don't know what caliber weapon comes out of the Bradley, but goddamn. And afterwards, I was just like, that was fucking crazy. So there was some bad guys we killed. That was a little weird. I think that that was different from me because I then saw on the ground. I mean, there's this is the we're the infill into Baghdad. There's a lot of dead bodies around. That stuff fucked me up when I came back. I had some PTS after that.
Yeah.
Different than doing the CT mission in Afghanistan, where just 100%, it's kind of clinical. You're collecting intelligence, passing it to certain, either certain U.S. government entities that can kind of do the finish, and then they're gone. But I didn't see it up close.
Did you ever watch it happen?
Yeah, all the time.
How did that feel?
And in person too, watching airstrikes. I don't. It just became. I became. This is maybe it's a dig on me. I became almost obsessive with it. Remember that old it's still around, the Long War Journal.
Yeah.
Remember that? So the Long War Journal kind of covered the HVT fight in Afghanistan, and when they'd run an article that said, senior Taliban or senior Al Qaeda member killed by a drone strike, I'd fucking cut that thing out and put it up in the base.
Nice.
And we had the shit covered everywhere.
Nice.
And that's what motivated me. But it wasn't. There was never high fives. It was kind of a feeling of calm.
Yeah.
Weird. So years later, and when I was at Walter Reed, kind of getting treatment for my traumatic brain injury, I remember I met this is a great story. A grizzled old, the one person who helped me the best there was a grizzled old Marine Corps chaplain, Chappie. And I'd seen all sorts of psychiatrists and psychologists just asking me about how I was doing. And so he sat and I was with one Dev Group guy, one Navy EOD guy, and one Air Force CCT. And he said, okay, let's just talk about moral injury. And he said, does anyone here feel any regret for any of the killing you've done? And everyone kind of said, no. And he goes, all right, let's move on. And so it was the same kind of thing. It wasn't I was not traumatized by that. I was okay with it. I don't know. And kind of the issues I've had afterwards didn't really surround that. I'll tell you what doesn't happen. There's no high fives.
Yeah.
There's no cheering involved. I never saw any of that. It's just become because again, everyone had the memory. Every day was September 12th.
Yeah. I've seen both. I've seen people be devastated because of it.
Yeah.
I've seen people get really excited about it, and then the people that do it all the time, it's kind of like, all right, let's go get some dinner.
Yeah, that was it.
Let's go get some chow, get ready for tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, and I was involved in some other types of activities like that over the years outside of the war zones, and so ultimately, just something that we did. Now, some people don't like that. I mean, the agency is an interesting place because there are people to this day who didn't support kind of the whatever you want to call it, the targeted killing program, which was 100% legal and lawful, or they get very upset about things like the enhanced interrogation techniques and this and that. I for whatever reason, just with me, it really doesn't bother me. It just doesn't. I understand for moral reasons why some people get upset by it, but you know what? Then don't get involved in counterterrorism operations. I mean, there's an ugly side to this.
Yeah.
And the men and women I know who were involved in this kind of stuff. I mean, you'd go to your local, I don't know, what do you got here in Tennessee? Safeway, Publix, Giant, grocery store. They look like normal people. They're not supermen or superwomen, but they were comfortable in doing what we had to do.
Yeah.
And to me, that was I have no regrets on any of that. And even when people really get upset about the whole issue about torture, and I get it. And probably we shouldn't have done some of those things, but I don't lose sleep over it. It's weird. I'm being super honest in this interview. It doesn't bother me. Maybe it should.
Have you ever sat in with a advanced interrogation?
I was not. I was once in an interrogation, not with an Arab intelligence service, where they started abusing the detainee, and we told them to stop.
Yeah, they play by another set of rules.
And it was just, they were stupid, and it caused a bit of a stink. But I never. And so again, I talk about this stuff to groups all the time, and they're like, well, first of all, they don't believe me. Like, how are you not involved in any of the EIT stuff with all this, your counterterrorism experience? I just wasn't. Maybe it's luck. I certainly, in when I was in Kandahar in 2002, I remember going to some of the initial, doing debriefs in prisons with some of the initial Al Qaeda members who were caught. But this was basically it's a battlefield interrogation. It was nothing. And I'll tell you one thing, and this. And my wife and I talk about this all the time. We're like, are we bad people for not caring about this? Because it doesn't bother me. And maybe that's something that's wrong with me. Is this is in February and March of 2002. These are these are Arab Al Qaeda fighters taken off the battlefield who were in some shitty tent somewhere being guarded. And I would look at them and I was like, these people would gut your sister. Mm-hmm. You put them on the streets of America, they would kill every American possible. I mean, I sound it's scary. Scary is the wrong word. They're just fucking evil.
They would do it.
They would. And so when it comes, I guess my view on some of these things, whether enhanced interrogation techniques are, for me, it's not the moral side of things, more an is it effective or not. That's where I come on. And a lot of people say it's not. A lot of people say it is. But after seeing the AQ folks up close and personal, and there's a lot of people who are very active in defending, folks at Gitmo, defending some of the senior AQ folks who were subject to enhanced interrogation. I got no time for that. Yeah, because these are evil motherfuckers. And I'm telling, and I remember having this, so I grew up in again, my dad was a college professor, and I'm pretty center of the road politically. He's super, on the left, and I remember coming back from Afghanistan when I saw him one time, and I said, Dad, man, I saw these people like they've got black in their eyes, and I'll never forget my dad and my stepmom are just like, I fucking kill all of them.
That's awesome.
I don't know. It's a really weird personal thing for a lot of us who did counterterrorism operations, but I don't lose any sleep over it. And the other part too is I don't think it's ever going to happen again. We're not going to do those kind of things. The targeted killing, which is really regimented and lawful. The agency, under covert action authorities will, probably continue to, I imagine, be involved in this. In terms of enhanced interrogation technique, it's so controversial. We're never going to go near that again.
Hey everybody, I'm Shawn Ryan. Click here to subscribe to the Shawn Ryan Show YouTube channel for the hottest and most compelling interviews that you will not see anywhere else. I've also made a playlist of all the previous SRS episodes so they're easy to find. You can find that right here.